Is Matt Dietrich. I'm the Assistant Director of Admissions here at the Penn State School of International Affairs, and we want to welcome you to our general admissions webinar today on our Master of International Affairs degree. I'm joined by my colleague and the Director of Admissions, Christy Percio, who is going to be kind of manning the chat during our time today and answering your questions as we go. Uh, with that being said, if you are interested in getting your questions answered today, we absolutely welcome that. We're here for you. Our conversation is only as good as you want it to be as far as asking your questions and getting those answered. So don't hesitate to ask those questions as we go along today. Again, with that being said, please use the question and answer function within Zoom as opposed to the chat function so that we can get your questions answered in a systematic way. Sometimes they can get lost in the chat, especially if there are a lot of people using the chat to say all kinds of stuff. The question and answer box really is more appropriate for that. So I'm going to go ahead and get rolling here, and we'll get through this webinar and get you on throughout your day. So first, we're going to talk a little bit about Penn State University and the School of International Affairs. And before I really get going today, I do want to say we are here to talk about the Master of International Affairs degree program. We can't talk about any other program like computer science or any engineering programs or the like, because we do only represent the School of International Affairs and the Master of International Affairs degree. So if that was confusing when you enrolled in this webinar today, I do apologize, but we're just not going to be able to help you if you're interested in a program other than that. So some quick SIA Fast Facts. We do offer a professional master's degree in international affairs. The primary focus of our program is to help students get the skills that they need to get a job in international affairs or public policy broadly defined. Students will engage in a lot of coursework and extracurricular activities around professional development and skill building, as well as networking with alumni, employers who hire our students, and so many more within the realm of a professional degree. It's a lot different than an academic degree where you're really preparing yourself for a PhD or academia post-graduation. Now, what I'll say is that although we do have a lot of students that are really just interested in getting a job once they graduate, and that's the nature of our program, we do have a subset of students that do go on to get PhDs once they leave our program. So it's not outside of the realm of possibility, and we do have the resources available to you to prepare you for a great PhD program. But what I'll say is that the majority of our students really are just interested in getting skills for a job. We are also a member of the Association of Professional Schools of International Affairs, or APSIA for short, and this really just speaks to the rigor and prestige of our program. We're part of a consortium of schools that are the best schools of international affairs recognized globally, and we're really excited to be a part of this wonderful consortium. We offer an interdisciplinary, flexible, and customizable curriculum, which I'll talk a little bit about later, as far as our concentrations go, and the ability to take classes across campus at Penn State University in various programs or degree options. We also offer education abroad. If you're an international student watching this webinar today, that coming here would be your education abroad experience, and I sympathize with that. I totally get that. But if you're a student that is not that is from the United States rather, and you're interested in going abroad through our program, you can absolutely do that. And there are sometimes cases where international students do use our program to go to another country for cultural immersion and study as well. So it's not outside of the realm of possibility, and that's something that we can support you in. Of course, as long as you can get the visas and your passport is valid in that country, et cetera, et cetera. We offer elite experienced faculty, so faculty that come from a wide range of public service backgrounds, as well as folks who are scholars within their particular area, and then a combination of the two, folks who have been ambassadors but are also scholars in diplomacy or international security or globalization, and the like. So it's a really great combination of practical and professional experience brought to the classroom as well as scholarly work. And then we have an over 90% career attainment rate. And right now it sits at a 93.8% career attainment rate within 1 year of graduating from our program, which speaks to our great career services office, the alumni network that is invested in our current students, as well as the opportunities afforded to you within the program and outside of the program as far as extracurricular activities go. Talking about curriculum flexibility, you can choose one of 12 concentrations or create your own. Concentration examples include data analytics, African development, development policy, international security studies, international cybersecurity, Middle East studies, environment and resources, human rights and humanitarian response, and others. Or you can completely create your own concentration by taking a mix of courses within our course list that that could be attributed to our prescribed concentrations, as well as taking classes across campus within the confines of our program that can also be used towards a concentration that you choose to create yourself. Over 60% of our students actually create their own concentration. And I think what they're doing is that they're taking classes that are already within our prescribed concentrations and picking and choosing from a wide variety of classes within those concentrations and then creating their own as well. One of the more popular examples in recent memory would include non-traditional security studies, which is not a concentration that we offer. It is a concentration that is created, but but students will take classes from a variety of our concentrations to form that specifically. You can take electives in many top Penn State graduate programs, as I've alluded to. You can also complete electives abroad through one of our education abroad experiences. And we're one of very few graduate programs, just generally speaking, in which you can go abroad through our program. It does not delay graduation, and you can get graduate credit while you're abroad. So you're not delaying your progress towards degree in any shape or form. If you're interested, you can also add on a graduate certificate, which essentially just adds on another credential or expertise. A lot of times students will do this. This is not in addition to the electives you have to take, but it would be replacing electives that you have to take. So it's not even though you're adding a credential, you're essentially double counting the courses, and you're not adding time onto degree in a lot of cases. Sometimes these certificates can be done online. Sometimes they can be done residential. It just really depends on the certificate that you're enrolled in. And I think this is a popular option, especially for students who want to add on a credential. A lot of times people will ask us, do you offer graduate minors? And I think this would be a really good place to do that in lieu of a graduate minor, just because those are more rare than the certificates. You can start or perfect a foreign language within our program by taking language courses here at Penn State. Sometimes students come to our program not knowing another language other than their native language or English, for example. This would include a lot of our STEM folks, maybe folks who have come from an engineering background or even a business background, where you weren't required to learn a language other than English in your undergraduate program. That's totally fine. Because of our language proficiency requirement, we will then require you to take classes here at Penn State to become at least intermediate proficient at an intermediate level in whatever language you choose based upon your career aspirations and background. And you can do that here at Penn State. You can take Spanish, French, German, Arabic, Russian, Mandarin, and there are so many other languages that you could also take and become an expert in that. And then, of course, if you want to perfect a language that you've already taken in your undergraduate program, or maybe you grew up speaking a language other than English, then you can take classes to perfect that language while you're here. Again, really just based upon your career aspirations and your background. And then we have a capstone, which is either a master's paper or an internship. Most students, given the professional nature of our program, are choosing to do the master's paper, or I'm sorry, doing the internship to build their professional networks and skills. And then there are a subset of students that choose to do the master's paper, maybe because they have already a pretty full resume of professional experience, or other factors such as they're interested in going on to get a PhD as opposed to getting a job immediately after graduating from our program. Depending on your future ambitions, you will choose one over the other, and you'll do that in consultation with our advising staff and career services, as well as academic advising. So moving on to why you should consider coming to Penn State, I think there are a lot of reasons, but I'm going to highlight just a few of them here today. Penn State is a top 100 global university, according to US News and World Report, as well as topuniversities.com. Penn State does have the largest alumni association globally, with over 175,000 dues-paying members of the Penn State Alumni Association and 740,000 plus alumni worldwide. Here in the next few years or so, definitely less than a decade, we will offer our 1 millionth degree, and I think the Alumni Association is extremely happy about that, the prospect of that. What this really says is that there are Penn Staters all over the globe doing all kinds of things. And given that we are the largest, we are the largest alumni association globally of any university globally, it really just says that no matter where you go, you could meet a Penn Stater. And I have so many personal anecdotes and stories that I could tell you about meeting random Penn Staters or uncles and aunts of Penn Staters or grandparents of Penn Staters or just friends of Penn Staters in airports and countries all over the globe. And so wherever you go, you can network and meet with people. Penn Staters are extremely generous and super nice, and they're always excited to meet someone that is like-minded and from a similar university as well. So the networking is endless in that regard. We also offer a global community, and we're centrally located here at Penn State University. You can see on our map how close we are to at least 3 major US cities, as well as an international city in Canada. And our students are going to these cities for career exposure trips and networking, as well as leisure and to just explore. For the most part, we are taking our students to DC and New York on career trips to meet with employers that hire our students, but most importantly, network with the alumni that live in those cities, particularly in DC, where a large majority of our alumni end up living and working post-graduation. We have an alumni reception on our career trip to build your network, as well as meet alumni, learn about what it's like to live and work in those cities, and maybe get an internship or a job out of it. You can see here with our statistics that Penn State is also a top-ranked university within the United States for international student enrollment. So if you're an international student wondering what university you might attend, I would highly consider Penn State, specifically because it is a safe place to live, and I think you will be able to find your niche interests fulfilled here, particularly because we are a top 10 university for international student enrollment. Given that we have 46,000 students here, there are plenty of opportunities, whether you're from the US or not from the US, to engage in activities with like-minded individuals and find your people group that you are interested in engaging with to meet colleagues and build a network, of course, as well. State College is also a top 100 place to live in the United States. It's extremely affordable and safe to live around here. And so these are important considerations as you consider moving forward and moving your life for 2 years to a place where you'll be living, working, and studying. So why consider SIA? Well, I just got done talking about our great university here and that you get full access to a Tier 1 research institution in the United States, one of the largest in North America. You also get support from every angle within the School of International Affairs specifically. A lot of graduate programs are kind of bare bones, and I think one thing that speaks to the quality of our program and education is that you get support from a variety of staff and faculty. And so we have the bones and the structure to make sure that, that you're taken care of while you're in our program. So we offer a 3-tiered advising approach. Every student will have an academic advisor, a career services advisor, and a faculty mentor, which we will pair you up with as long as you are matriculated and intend on enrolling in our program. We offer a peer and alumni mentorship. Every first-year student will be paired up with a quality second-year student to help you engage with our program even before you start in the fall semester. So once you have decided to join our program, we will make sure that a second-year student is available to mentor you through enrolling in the program, as well as making sure that you're finding housing and that you feel welcomed and ingrained within our program and community. We also offer alumni mentorship. Every first and second year student can opt into this program where you can meet with an alumni that is living and working in a city or industry that you are particularly interested in. They can help you with, again, expanding your network. You can meet with them to talk about resumes, cover letters, internships, job openings, et cetera, et cetera. Sometimes alumni will want to meet with you, or you can engage with them once a month, once a semester, or as often as you see fit. And I think this is a really great program that we offer. Again, I've talked quite a lot about our education abroad. We offer about 25 or more programs where you can go abroad either in the summer to complete an internship or during the fall semester to do traditional study abroad, or a combination of the two. And education abroad really allows you to expand your international affairs degree and get on hands-on learning as well as on-the-ground learning in another culture. Specifically, if you're interested in living and working in countries um, where you may go abroad, that would be a really great thing to put on your resume, and we offer that as well. Again, networking through the Penn State Alumni Association and our career trips. We also offer a tight-knit, diverse, and global community. One thing I really like about our community here at SIA is that we have students, faculty, and staff from all over the world, and we all learn from each other. And I think one thing our students are saying that in the classroom is that our faculty are really great and they learn a lot from them, but they're also learning a lot from each other. Our classrooms are very much conversation oriented, discussion based, where the faculty member may pose a question and students will just discuss it and problem solve together throughout. Even through our simulations, which there are plenty to be participated in throughout the fall semester specifically, you can learn from each other in a very hands-on way, and I think that this is extremely important. We also have community conversations around international affairs topics throughout the semesters that our director puts on, and so many other community building activities where you can learn from each other, not just in the classroom setting, but through extracurricular events. And that's something that we really care about here at SIA, is our community building. And again, our over 90% career attainment rate, 93.8% specifically since 2013, just speaks to the quality of our program and how we are preparing students for global jobs once they leave our program. Talking about our application requirements and how to apply is our next subject. And this is where I highly recommend you screen record, you start taking notes, or you just really pay attention. This will be up on our YouTube channel after this, so you can definitely go there to learn more or to rewatch on a video on demand type of way so that you can get this information. And this is where we will really help make sure that your application is buttoned up for admission into our program. Now, what I'll say is I'm going to really just highlight the big points here, but I highly recommend in the future that you join us for our best practices in applying to graduate school, where we will go more in depth into really how to put together a really good application for admission, and we'll really break down each part of the application to give you the best advice on moving forward with applying to our program. So first, some important deadlines. These are extremely important, so please take note of these. Our merit-based scholarship consideration deadline is January 31st, 2025 by 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. For best consideration of merit-based scholarships, please apply well in advance of this deadline and make sure that your application is entirely complete. This includes letters of recommendation, that you've answered all of the supplemental questions, you've submitted all proper documentation related to your past education, and you have completed all of the supplemental materials, such as your statement of purpose, as well as CV or resume. Applying after January 31st, but before March 21st, will still allow you to be considered for admission, but we can't guarantee scholarships at that point. After January 31st, our scholarships may have already been attributed to our admitted students. So I really don't recommend applying after January 31st. If you're an international student, this may mean making sure that your TOEFL and IELTS tests are already taken so that you put yourself in a position to apply by January 31st and not after that. If you apply after March 21st, this will be based on your admission will be based upon obviously the quality of your application, but also if there are seats available within our program. And we definitely cannot guarantee scholarships at all after March 21st. So I really don't recommend applying after March 21st. Please apply no later than January 31st for best consideration and through March 21st if absolutely necessary. But again, I don't recommend that either. So how to apply? First, visit our website. To set yourself up for success, please make sure that you are going to our website, reading through the admissions requirements, getting to know our program, read through our faculty, read through our course offerings and curriculum, read through education abroad programs and career development information as well. Get to know our program intimately because this will really set you up for success and it'll allow you to see yourself in our program in the future. So the requirements include, and again, this is all on our website, so I'm not sharing any information that's not on our website. Please make sure you submit a current resume or CV. You will need to submit at the time of application a copy of your official transcripts. If you can download transcripts from your registrar, that would be considered the copy of the official transcripts. That would be the best recipe for success. Sometimes registrars will call these unofficial transcripts, but it must be at least a copy of the official transcripts. Official transcripts are really defined as when the university sends the transcripts from their university to our university and it doesn't go through you. Once you have the transcripts in hand, they're considered a copy of the official or unofficial transcripts, just so that you're made aware of that. We also do need a statement of purpose. You'll see that there are two prompts online. And you'll pick one of those and write it in kind of cover letter fashion. They are typically between 500 and 750 words. If you write more than that, that's fine, but try not to write too much. The review committee has quite a lot of statements of purpose to read. And if we start reading novels, then this will be really challenging for us. If you write less than this, that's not a great recipe for success, and you're not putting yourself in the best position to be admitted into our program. And then also make sure that you make it clear in your statement of purpose that you are applying to our program specifically. If we see or kind of get the hint that you're just kind of copying and pasting your statement of purpose across multiple programs, that's not a great look. And again, we'll talk more about this in our best practices in applying to our program. But make sure that you're really tailoring your statement of purpose to our program specifically, mentioning faculty, classes, concentrations, and how our program can set you up for success in your career endeavors. So that's all very important, and please take note of that. We need the contact information for two recommenders. We recommend having at least one faculty recommendation from your bachelor's degree. And if the other one is a supervisor from a professional experience or internship experience, that's totally okay. I think ideally we'd like to see two faculty recommendations, but at minimum, please have at least one faculty recommendation. Preferred two, but at least one. You'll also need to complete program-specific questions. These are supplemental questions outside of the statement of purpose that are at the end of our application. These are extremely important, and we will definitely scrutinize these as well throughout the review process. So please make sure that these are answered to the best of your ability and as honestly as you can. For international students, we do need proof of English proficiency unless you are otherwise exempt based upon the list that we have on our admissions website. That exemption list is non-negotiable. If your country of origin is not included on that list, you must submit official TOEFL or IELTS exam scores. Again, that's non-negotiable, and there's no exemption process for you. For the TOEFL internet-based test, you need a minimum of an 80 and a minimum of a 19 on the speaking portion. For IELTS, you need a minimum of a 6.5 overall band score. Please have those sent to Penn State University as soon as you can. If you've taken the TOEFL exam, go to your ETS account and send us your scores using the code 2660. And if you have taken the IELTS exam, please go to your testing agency and have those scores sent to us as soon as you can so that they can be attached to your application once you apply. And you can have those sent to us whether you before you apply or after you apply, but please make sure that we receive those prior to January 31st or at your earliest convenience. We also need you to submit proof of a conferred degree that is comparable to a U.S. U.S. four-year bachelor's degree. Again, if you're an international student applying to our program, please make sure you go onto our website and look at the country eligibility webpage offered by the graduate school. There you can search for your country and you can look to see what you need to submit at the time of application. Every country has different requirements for a bachelor's degree, and we need to make sure that your degree is comparable to a four-year bachelor's degree. If you're a European applicant, for example, this means that you have at least 240 ECTS credits. This is non-negotiable, and they will definitely look at this as they review your transcripts and degree certificates. If they don't see 240 ECTS credits on your transcripts, then unfortunately you will not be eligible for admission. For Indian applicants, for example, and I'm just throwing out examples here of very common ones in the past. If you only have a three-year bachelor's degree in India, that does not compare to a four-year bachelor's degree. You would need a postgraduate diploma or some other sort of degree to meet that four-year requirement. All of this will be checked on the transcripts as well as the degree certificates, which will need to be submitted upon application. All right, let's talk about tuition, scholarships, and funding as we move forward here today. For out-of-state and international students, please note that you will likely need to pay around $39,951 for 1 year. This is the 1 year total for tuition, and this is only billable expenses. You will see that there is a difference between fall and spring tuition, which I'm going to talk about here in a little bit. This is just really a difference in credit level, and I'm doing that specifically because our program often has students taking more credits in their first fall semester and less credits in the spring semester, but it's not always true. And then for your non-billable expenses, the ones that will not show up on the tuition bill, again, billable expenses, they will show up on the tuition bill. This is what Penn State will bill you without any scholarship. This is without any scholarship or any other external means of funding at Penn State. This is what you may expect to pay in non-billable expenses. This is estimated living costs, including rent and meals. For books, you're probably not going to pay that much in books for our program specifically. Our professors do a pretty good job of making sure that you're not buying entire libraries. Of course, I'm saying that tongue in cheek, but that you're not paying for many, many, many books. You'll read a lot of articles and scholarly journals, which you can access through our university. And if you do need to buy books, they're not extremely expensive, and you won't have to buy many books for one class. Combined billable and non-billable expenses is roughly $56,425. However, for international students, you will need to provide a financial guarantee regardless of the amount of credits that you are enrolled in, which is about $61,800. The financial guarantee is required for the I-20, and the I-20 is required for the visa interview. So it's extremely important that you begin to plan to meet that financial guarantee to get the I-20. Without the I-20, there is no visa interview to join our program. If you're an in-state student, if you're from Pennsylvania, you'll see that the billable expenses are here, which is roughly 22,855. And this is based upon 12 credits in the fall and 9 credits in the spring. Again, I'm going to explain a little bit more about what that means here in a second. Again, these are the billable expenses without any scholarship. Here, the non-billable expenses are the same, and your billable plus non-billable expenses is around the $40,000 mark per year. Please note that the rates I just showed you are for the 2024-25 academic year. It's subject to an increased amount announced in July 2025. Again, your billable expenses will appear on the semesterly bill. Your non-billable expenses are really up to you. Whether you live in a more luxurious place or not, that could change the estimated rent cost for a year. And it also depends on your lifestyle, the non-billable expenses anyway. The tuition rates are based on 12 credits for the fall and 9 credits in the spring. This is why you see a difference in the price. Oftentimes, students are enrolled in 12 credits in the fall semester in the first year, and then 9 credits for every proceeding semester. Sometimes students will just take 12 or more credits every year. 9 credits is full time. This is why there's a price difference. From 9 to 12 credits, there is an increase per credit. And then from 12 to 18 credits is the same price. All of this is on our website, but I want to make it super clear that there is a difference in tuition, and that's why I showed a difference in tuition so that there's no confusion. Again, I think a lot of times students will take between 12 and 18 credits just because they're super ambitious and they want to take as many classes as they possibly can here while they're in our program, and that's totally fine. Just note that there is a price difference between 12 and 18 credits from the 9 credit level. International students, again, you must meet the financial guarantee regardless of how many credits you are enrolled in. This is $61,800 at the Penn State University Park campus for 2024-2025. Again, without the financial guarantee, there is no I-20, and no I-20, there is no visa. All right. Your scholarships, if you are eligible for scholarships, you may receive up to a 60% tuition discount. This ranges from about 15% to 60% depending on the year. In fall 2024, 100% of our admitted students that were eligible for scholarship did receive some form of scholarship, and that range is really there are levels to this. Again, the scholarships are limited, they're not guaranteed, and they're solely based on the merit of your application or the quality of your application. We don't do any need-based financial aid or scholarships at all. These are strictly based on the quality of the application, and they range really from about 15% tuition discount to 60% tuition discount. Your scholarships can discount your tuition up to 60%, like I've said. International students can use the scholarship towards your financial guarantee. So you take that $61,800 less 1 year of the scholarship, and then you'll need to provide the difference. We do not offer any fully funded scholarships. So if you're looking for full funding through our program, we do not offer that. And we also don't offer any graduate assistant or teaching assistant positions, which typically come with full funding and other benefits. Our program is just not afforded the possibility to do so. And so we do request that if you do apply to our program, please note that we can't offer you full funding, and you'll need to then begin looking for external means of funding. A lot of students choose to do this, and they make it work. We recognize that a master's degree is an investment in yourself, and because we can't fully fund students, we need to try to provide as much funding as we possibly can to as many students as we possibly can. And so we do ask that you look for external means of funding upon application and not just expect that we'll give you a scholarship and everything will work out. You do have to put some legwork in and invest in you. And that really is it for us today. We do ask that you connect with us, whether you set up a meeting one-on-one with Christy and myself, which we offer on a regular basis. Join us for a future webinar, specifically our best practices in applying, especially if you're interested in applying to our program. We absolutely welcome an application from you in which you can scan the other QR code to look at our application requirements and how to apply. And we thank you so much for your time today. And with that, we would love to answer your questions as we move forward. And I do have some pre-submitted and frequently asked questions that we can go through, but I do welcome your live questions now that we can get through as well. And it's up to you how you'd like to go about it. It does look like there were some questions that were submitted as I was talking that Christy took care of, which is really great. But for the good of the group, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of go over those now. Awesome. So one question that came through was, does capstone internship take place during the last semester? That's a great question. Typically, the the capstone is completed in between your first and your second year. So the summer in between year one and year two is when internships are typically done. If you do the master's paper, however, that will typically be done during the entirety of the second year. So you'll start in the fall, but the credits won't be attributed until you submit it. So that would be then the spring semester. The reason being is because you need a lot of time, right, to write a really good master's paper. If you try to start it all in one semester, you're just not going to give yourself enough time to do the research, literature review, the research question, answering the research question, hypothesis testing, et cetera, et cetera. So it's really important that you take the whole year to do that. Someone asks, is there a required minimum cumulative GPA? The short answer is no, but typically our students have an average of a 3.5 on a 4.0 scale. If you have less than that, the way that we review our applications is that strengths in one area can outweigh weaknesses in another area. If you have maybe a lower GPA, then write a really good statement of purpose and show that you have strong professional background through your CV. These are other ways that you can kind of overcome maybe a poor GPA on a 4.0 scale, by the way. Letters of recommendation that are really good are also important too, so that they can kind of speak to your ability to take on higher level learning in graduate school, despite maybe a GPA that is lower. Someone asks another good question that we typically get is DuoLingo test accepted? No, Penn State does not accept the DuoLingo test. We only accept official scores from IELTS or TOEFL. And there's no exemption process again, and no exceptions that we can make to that. DuoLingo is not accepted. Great. All right, another question came through. Someone asks, is there a GRE requirement? If so, what range of score is acceptable? So we do not require the GRE. The GRE is not required. Here, it's completely optional. If you want to submit GRE scores, you can. If you don't submit GRE scores, it won't negatively impact your application for admission. One thing I will say, and I'm not trying to convince you one way or the other to take the GRE. Again, if you don't want to take it, you don't have to. But historically speaking, students who submit pretty good GRE scores typically receive higher levels of merit-based scholarships, but it's not always true. Typically, people who are submitting pretty good GRE scores are really good in other areas of the application, and so it just kind of gives them a boost in the scholarship consideration category. But there are some really outstanding applicants who don't submit GRE scores at all, uh, who um, who still receive pretty high scholarships as well. If you're kind of worried about your application and believe that you have some weaknesses that just can't be overcome in other ways, and you submit decent GRE scores, then maybe you'll see a higher scholarship. Now, again, nothing is guaranteed, but I'm just giving some pointers out there as you consider applying to our program. Someone asks, when is the best practices webinar and what's the institution culture like? So to answer your first question on the best practices webinar, uh, that's a good question. I don't have it off the top of my head, but if you're on our email list, you will get those. You can also go on to sia.psu.edu/connect, go to our webinar calendar, and kind of scroll through. I think one is coming up here in October. And we do that just because we see applications kind of pick up here in October. So that's a good time to join us for that. So go on our website, check out our webinar calendar, and I think you'll find in October we'll have our first best practices webinar. If not, I think we have another one in November or December. The next question, what's the institution culture like? Another good question. So, as far as the institutional culture, um, Penn State is first of all, Penn State is a Big Ten university. A lot of Big Ten universities are kind of your quintessential colleges, right? Where there's a lot going on. So, for example, the downtown area, as far as like nightlife and restaurants and sport culture, all of that is plentiful around here. The downtown area and the university are very closely intertwined. There's almost no difference. The only thing that separates the downtown area from the campus uh, is one road. So they're very much one and the same. And I think that that's a great quality to have. It means that you can kind of engage with the community and the university simultaneously. The sports culture here is very high. If you're not very aware of Penn State University. Sports is a massive focal point here for the university. If you don't want to engage in sports, you don't have to, of course, but it's just one thing that's kind of it's a pretty big aspect of the campus culture. I would say people are very excited about Penn State, whether it's sports or not sports. People love Penn State. There are so many people wearing Penn State gear all over the place, and that's kind of your day to day. For graduate students, and I think one thing about our specific culture here at the School of International Affairs, you can see behind me our building. That's the home of the School of International Affairs and Penn State Law. It's kind of off the beaten path from campus, although again, it's right across the street from kind of the main part of campus. But it's nice that it's slightly removed so that you can really focus. You're always in this one building. So you have the ability to go to class and then immediately go study and vice versa from studying to class. And if you want to get away from kind of the craziness or the chaos of a massive Big Ten campus, you can. And if you want to engage in a massive Big Ten campus, you can also do that as well. So you can kind of remove yourself or include yourself as you see fit. And I think that that's a big draw as well. You have your own building to get serious about your work, but you can also go and engage in the student activities across campus. Hope that helps as far as kind of describing our campus culture here. And then other things too as well. Um, you notice from earlier within the webinar, we talked a little bit about international student enrollment. So high levels of diversity globally, as well as ethnically and racially here on campus. And people from all different walks of life make up the Penn State campus, and it's really great to walk around and just see the diversity of people, thoughts, activities, ideas going on here on campus. Awesome. Well, if there are no other questions, I don't see any more coming in here. That's totally fine. We do appreciate your time, and I think my pre-submitted questions and frequently asked questions, I won't bring those up because I think I covered them for the most part through your questions, which I really appreciate. And without any other questions coming through, I think we'll go ahead and end it today. Again, we really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining today and engaging with us. We hope to see an application from you, and feel free to schedule a meeting with Christy or myself for one-on-one so we can get to learn about you more, and move forward in this journey together. Thanks so much, and have a great rest of your day. Bye.